welcome to the show.
And welcome back to another episode of the AstrosFuture podcast here on the Believe Podcast Network. I'm your host, Jimmy Price, also known as AstrosFuture. You can find my work at AstrosFuture.com and find me on X at AstrosFuture.
I'm your co-host, Kenny Van Doren. You can also find me on X at The Vandalorian.
So today we're joined by Astros pitching prospect 2024 fourth rounder Parker Smith. How you doing, Parker?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
So you just finished your first full season in the books. How are you feeling? Like, I mean, it's probably logged a lot of innings, it's been a long season all the way from, February, March, and instructs all the way to where we're at now. So how are you feeling overall?
I'm feeling pretty good. I'm just, relieved, I guess. Excited that the season's over, that, we kind of got the first one in the books. Excited to be healthy for the first time going into off season, and then excited for what's to come.
You talk about that health, looking at, the start of the year, and it was a little bit delayed getting into, I think, single A around early June. I mean, what kind of held you back, and what excitement was kind of around that, finally getting into pro ball, like, I guess 11 months since you were drafted in 2024?
For sure. Well, I had back surgery in November of last year. So it took about 7 months to come back from. But other than that, that was kind of the only thing holding me back. And then, debuted and got out of rehab in June. And officially got out to Fayetteville.
So before we get into how the season went for you, I want to go back all the way to the draft process. So can you kind of just tell us what that process was like, from pitching at Rice and maybe talking with the Astros and then to the actual draft?
For sure, yeah. It all kind of started halfway through sophomore year, back half of sophomore year, kind of started gaining a lot of traction with scouts and just had a good sophomore season. So gained a lot of traction from that going into the summer. After that, I played in the Cape Cod Baseball League, and then was able to get an invite to the USA trials for the USA baseball team. So that kind of definitely helped boost my stock a little bit. And then going into my junior fall, it was a lot of this right now, what we're doing, just hopping on Zoom calls with area scouts, talking, having face-to-faces, them getting to know me a little bit better and vice versa. And then going into the season, they were all hands off on that. They come out and see me pitch. That's really the only contact I had with them.
So, being in Houston, going to Rice, growing up here, what did it kind of mean? And did it mean anything more for you being drafted to kind of the hometown team?
Oh yeah. It means the world. I kind of joked about this on draft day that now I don't have to get rid of all my Astros gear that I've racked up over the years. I have a little bit more skin in the game, so to say. I've been an Astros fan since I could, walk and knew what the Astros were. My parents, I think, took me to my first game when I was like 3 or 4 months old. So definitely been around, and just going to Rice in Houston, and then kind of being born in Houston, going to Rice, and then getting drafted by the Astros. It's Houston can't get rid of me, and I kind of like it that way.
But we'll get more into just like some of those memories too of the Astros growing up. But I looked back just at your time with Rice, and you were talking about that sophomore season. I guess this might have been right before like things probably started to take off, where some of these teams maybe were reaching out, looking at you a year in advance. But you pitched in the College Classic. You pitched at what was then Minute Maid Park at the time. When you kind of like look back, I mean, did you ever like think like, hey, maybe I'll pitch in this stadium one day, but at the pro level too, just because where things are kind of going at that time?
I thought about it. The goal was always to come back and pitch in the MLB at a higher level than just in the College Classic. That was always the goal. It was just getting there. But yeah, I definitely took that moment in and appreciated it while I was there. I had a pretty good outing when I was at Minute Maid, and so I have a career 0 ERA at Minute Maid, so hopefully that'll keep going, keep going well.
So, going back to the season now. So you got healthy, debuted in the Florida close league in May, made your full season debut in June, but then like come August, you kind of hit a switch and just had like a ridiculous month of August. 2.05 ERA over 30 innings, struck out 32, only walked 6. Like, what kind of changed for you, and what was feeling right that month that kind of led to that level of success?
Yeah, I would kind of attribute that. I think um, call it, All-Star break time. Before that, I think I had logged 6 outings in Fayetteville. So 6 outings in 6 weeks. So kind of take that as my spring training. That was my spring training because I wasn't even throwing the ball at that, during spring training and being in rehab. So I think that was more or less my spring training. And then after that, started figuring some stuff out on the mound. With the pitch clock. The pitch clock is newer for me. Just like figuring out how my stuff plays better against a higher level opponent.
We know the Astros like 2 fastballs, 2 breaking pitches a lot with other prospects coming up. Can you guys like walk us through your repertoire right now? And did you like make any changes? You drop any pitches? Are you working on anything just this off season, just with what you learned from these past couple months?
Yeah. My junior season at Rice, I had my main fastball is a sinker, and it's a 2-seam, and then I would mix a 4-seam in, but it wasn't very. I didn't know how to use it. I didn't know what I was doing with it, what I was trying to do with it. It was more just mix it in, and then there's a change up, and then there was a slider. So 4 pitches in college. The biggest thing that when I got drafted, after I got drafted, we got sent to West Palm for instructs, and just kind of getting up to speed on everything, and on that side of things, getting indoctrinated within the organization. So within that, we started throwing bullpens then, and we were just figure some stuff out. So now it's a 4-seam, it's a 2-seam, it's a changeup. It's called a sweeper, and now what we call a cutter is more of a traditional slider.
So talking about the pitches that you have and looking at some of those outings you had in late August where you were really rolling, you got up to about looks like 81 pitches, good swing and strike numbers. Is like what pitches were working for you at that point, and was it something that some of the changes the Astros have made to your repertoire that helped you succeed there?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that we worked on was just usage, figuring out usage, what works against lefties, what works against righties, kind of garnering into my strengths rather than pitching to the batter themselves. And so we really heavily laid into that. So like with lefties, we started throwing the 4-seam and tinkering with the 4-seam to make it more effective. Whether that's how I hold it, the seam orientation, all that. And then there was what we call a cutter, and then the changeup. So that was kind of like our triangle with that. And then to righties, it was the 2-seam, the changeup, and then the sweeper. And then you have 5 pitches to work with too. And then as we got moved on in that little last 6-week stretch, we really kind of started mixing in all 5 pitches to both hands intermittently. So yeah.
Now that the season's over, what does your off season kind of look like? And obviously, you said this is the first off season you've been healthy. It feels like in a while. So, what does your off season kind of look like? And is there anything specifically that you'll be trying to focus on, trying to work on?
I'm just really happy to have a healthy off season and just being able to get in the weight room, get stronger, and have, I guess, something where I'm not going to PT and having to deal with surgeons throughout the off season. So that's the biggest thing, refining everything. But I'm actually going back to school, back to Rice, and trying to finish up my degree as well. So that's one of the bigger things that's taking up my time too.
Is that where you are right now? Are you in the
I
Rice?
am currently at Reckling Park right now, looking at the field. There's some JUCO high school game being played right now, so I'm in the press box.
Awesome.
Yeah, for those that are listening to the podcast version, you probably heard someone's walk-up music or something going on there for a second too. But Parker, when we were talking about that too, about coming back from injury and being just pleased to be healthy at this point. When you were drafted by the Astros, did you feel like those lingering back issues or something just kind of popped up, near the end of your season, and then you got it addressed at the end of the year? I mean, can you kind of walk us through that real quick?
Yeah. So it was kind of there was nothing that happened during the season at all. It was just kind of I would say a freak accident. I was lifting in West Palm, and it was bad rep all around. And then I had a hernia, the disc popped pretty much. And so then we didn't really know what it was. There's like a 2-month delay in kind of figuring out what it was, seeing if we could rehab it or just let it rest. And then from there, we looked at it and were like, we need surgery. So that's what that was.
I want to get into some fun questions now, Parker. And this is one that it's a little bit harder to ask you because it's only 1 year. And so you probably haven't faced, a lot of guys that maybe you've familiarity with yet. But from the team that you were on in this Fayetteville team, and maybe on the back end of the year too, when a lot more college guys came in and some more guys, joined the team, who was just one hitter that you just got to watch just from the dugout, from the bullpen, wherever you were sitting, you were like, man, I'm glad I don't have to face that guy?
I think the easiest answer is Ethan Fry. That's the one that stands out to me as one of the new guys. But there's a lot of guys within our org, like Caden Powell is one of them. Chase Call is a new guy from UCI. So there's a lot of guys that came in and just immediately hit the ground running on that. So it was really fun to see, really fun that they were on our team and not facing us. So yeah.
So when we're talking to hitters, we usually talk about what pitcher you don't want to face. But in this one, it'll be a little different, but another fun question. But is there a pitch that you saw of one of your teammates this year? They're like, man, if I could take that pitch and add to my repertoire, that's the one I would take. Is there one that kind of stands out?
Man, if I had Bryce Mayer's four seam, we'd be cooking. We'd be cooking. He's a freak. And it's hard. It's metrically really good. It's a weird slot, and you've seen what he's done with it, getting up to Corpus this year and I think he was our top pitching prospect of the year or something like that. So he's doing great. I wish I had that four seam.
That is always a fun one to ask too. There's a lot of stuff that we don't even know, tools wise too. A lot of the hitters like to say, just pull stuff from guys that they've watched. Yeah. I know you only got up to Fayetteville this year and you weren't, wearing any funky jerseys at Rice or Bel Air over the last couple of years, but what were some of the digs that you liked just in Fayetteville? They're like, oh, this is kind of different. It's a little bit more fun, relaxed. And what are some of those jerseys that kind of stood out to you?
One Fayetteville, we had the special ops jerseys. And so those were all black. Those were pretty cool to wear. I actually pitched on Black Ops night or Special Ops night. We had a flyover and everything. It was pretty cool to watch. It was hot that day, so the black jerseys didn't really help. But those were cool. I mean, the fans and Fayetteville are very supportive and show out. So it was really cool to see that at Rice we didn't draw as many fans as we could, probably because we weren't doing too hot. But yeah, it's cool to have some fans in the stands.
Did your family get to make it out to Fayetteville for some games?
They did. They came up, call it late June, I believe, and we were playing the Augusta Low A Braves, and my roommate from college was on that team too. So we got to see him, and my parents got to come out for that.
So going back to what we talked about with you growing up in Houston and being an Astros fan and being drafted by the Astros, can you kind of maybe describe some of your best memories as an Astros fan? Obviously, you probably been fortunate the last 10 years. They've been really good. So ever
Mhm.
since you kind of became a teenager, they've been in the playoffs. But is there anything that kind of stands out to you?
Yeah. I went to Justin Verlander's first outing in Houston. I was there that game. We were playing the Angels. Weird pull, I know. But I remember that. I remember me and my best friend watching him warm up, and we're just like, this is great. And then we ended up winning the World Series that year. And I think that was a couple weeks before Harvey. So I was an incoming freshman in high school when that happened. And then obviously 2017 World Series, after Hurricane Harvey, it really helped elevate a lot of things within the city, give people something to cheer for after having, their homes, everything destroyed. I think, but there's really too many to count on. I mean, the World Series 2022. I was in college. I went to a couple I went to one where we went to the Nationals when we played the Nationals World Series. And then I went to one where we played the Braves, and I didn't go to any when we won. So I was like, I'm never going to a World Series game again with the Astros playing. So hopefully that's not a bad omen going forward.
Yeah.
Before we let you out of here, I just had a quick question that just kind of came up from that. Is it cool to just say we, that you don't have to ever worry about that for at least 4 or 5 more years, no matter like what kind of happens, you can always just say, yeah, I'm a part of the organization.
Yeah, it's I didn't even think about that. I've always said we, and now I can kind of include myself in that. Just as a fan, we. But yeah, it's surreal. And I got a little ways to go, but we're gonna make it. We're gonna do it.
Sure.
But that's the goal.
All right, Parker. Well, we appreciate you joining us. Pumped you're healthy. You got a healthy offseason ahead of you. Really looking forward to seeing what you can do next year. So appreciate you joining us.
Well, thank you for having me.
All right, that's going to do it for today's episode. So if you haven't already done so, please be sure to subscribe to the podcast on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcast. As always, thank you so much for listening. We look forward to having you back for our next episode of the Astros Future podcast covering your Astros in the minor league system.